Hey everybody, Matt here for AVC, and welcome back to the shop. You know, this year 22 has been quite a year. The last couple years for all of us has been pretty trying, and I thought as a nice treat to the shop, I'd take everybody in a couple of vans and we tour our way out to Oregon. For some of the guys in the shop, it was their very first time actually spending a night in the van, so it's pretty nice to actually spend a night in the thing that we build every single day and get a taste of the life. It was also nice for me to get away from the shop and enjoy a little bit of what we build here every day.
Hey everybody, it is Dutch, head of media. So I'm gonna kind of talk about the trip.
Hey guys, my name's Ian. I'm one of the builders and installers here at AVC Rig, and I was also fortunate enough to make it on the Oregon trip.
Hey guys, it's Stuart. We just finished up our trip to the Oregon coast and it was amazing.
We left the shop here on Tuesday morning.
We got out a little later than we would have liked after a mad scramble to get the vans ready for our trip.
And we drove out to Bennett Springs, Idaho. It's right on the Utah-Idaho border. It was a pretty good mission, about a 10-hour drive from here.
It ended up being a great spot. We kind of climbed up the mountain to just some really unexpectedly beautiful terrain.
And I was blown away by it. It was super gorgeous. It was like right next to like a little stream.
And got to, camp as a team for the first time.
Then we got up the next day and we had another 9 hours to drive into Bend. We jammed right on through, all the way through Idaho and Oregon, and got into Bend that evening in time for dinner. My sister-in-law lives in Bend, so I thought it'd be a good excuse to fly my family out so we could camp along the coast all together without having to subject my kids to a 20-hour drive from state to state. It was a pretty whirlwind drive, so I'm really glad I took the chance to fly the family out and met up with us there in Oregon so that they could just do the fun parts and then they could fly back home, and it just made the whole trip much smoother. So we rented a house there in Oregon just so we could house that many more people. We could get a few more activities done without having the stress of like being in the vans the whole time. I went mountain biking a couple times with Stuart.
Matt and I went mountain biking at Mount Bachelor. We basically got dropped off at the top of the mountain and made our way back to the Airbnb. It was great, totally kicked my butt. And Bend has some absolutely fantastic trails, just nicely groomed, great jumps.
When we landed in Bend, I just took off walking with Echo. I didn't track the miles, but I would say at least 10 miles of just walking throughout Bend.
I kind of took the van and did my own thing, kind of like took some photos, like kind of went to some cafes and stuff, like kind of just hung out. We actually stopped by the last Blockbuster in the world, which apparently is in Bend, Oregon. I didn't know that, but apparently that's where it is.
It was a really cool town. I think Bend has a lot of great features. It was a really fun place to visit, and I was really glad we made that a stop on our journey. Now, on Saturday morning, we woke up early, we jammed up to Hood River. It was an amazing drive all the way up there. Really cool, different climates, different zones, totally different than the kind of stuff we have here in Colorado, so it was a really fun drive for us. And then we got to the show.
Basically that whole day we were just recording stuff and interviewing like other van lifers.
We hung out, we drank some beers with other builders, got to know some of the people out there in Oregon, which was really nice.
So Sunday, we leave Hood River, make the mad dash back to Bend, pick up the family, and then out to Cape Blanco.
It's the westernmost point of the continental United States. There's a cool lighthouse. The state park there is just absolutely beautiful. Huge, tall trees, just so different than we have here in Colorado.
Really cool, all this like bleached wood, which looked like bones across the shore, so it just looked really sick.
We camped out on just a fogged-in peninsula in the trees. It wasn't raining, but it was dripping. It was so different than Colorado. I think it was really a trip for everyone to spend some time on that Oregon coast. So green and so beautiful.
The next morning we woke up at Cape Blanco and we only had about 3.5 hours drive to the next campsite, which was Beverly Beach. We stopped at this little great place in Newport. There was just this little fresh seafood market. We all had a bunch of Dungeness crab, had a nice seafood feast right there. Then we went just up the coast to Beverly Beach.
Beverly Beach was a cool spot where we were camped along a river that went down to the beach and then kind of flowed across the beach into the ocean.
Ran the dogs on the beach, hung out. So our vans backed up to the creek and we had like a cool little Jurassic Park hiking trail through the back. Each campsite had running water at the site. So it was a big difference from some of the parks here in Colorado where water is much more of a commodity and a little more sparse. So that was really nice and made camping really easy with the family. We did stop at the Tillamook Cheese Factory. Took a little self-guided tour, saw how they package up cheese, got some delicious samples, and then we jumped back in the vans and we had a quick finish to the trip that morning to Fort Stevens. Now Fort Stevens is on the very northern point of Oregon and it borders It's right there in Astoria. It borders the river. We got to ride some bikes around the park, explore some military batteries.
They have a shipwreck from like 1906 on the beach. It's like all rusted out.
We all went to the town of Astoria. We had breakfast together in town. We're just trying to get some miles off the ticker.
Went to a really nice little cafe. I really liked Astoria. Like their beachfront was like, well, it's like port was really cool. And it's like right on the Columbia River. And so they had all these like Coast Guard ships and stuff. So for me, I really enjoyed that.
That last day of the road trip, we made our way back into Bend. My wife had to work the following day, and so I split up with the team on that night. My family and I stayed in a hotel in Bend, and then the guys took the vans, and we kind of had free reign with the vans and the gas card for the next few days.
So Ian and Dutch and I went on, kind of did a true van life dirtbag experience and slept on a trailhead. Those next few days were honestly some of the coolest.
And that was me and Stuart. And we went to Idaho to Craters of the Moon, and we got some really cool photos there. I did some like nighttime photography, and that was really dope.
And that was amazing. Craters of the Moon is just an unearthly landscape. That's in Idaho, again in the Sawtooths. We stayed the night at a really cool little lodge there in Alta, Wyoming, and took showers and felt like civilized humans again, which was really nice after 8 days on the road. So our last day we spent in Shoshone National Forest in Wyoming, and that was great because we got to take one of these new 22 vans over a mountain pass, on dirt roads, on washboards, on slippery gravel, big rocks embedded in the road. So we really got to test that thing out.
One of my favorite parts of the trip was definitely being able to take my dog with me, and I thought that was super cool. She got to experience a lot of firsts out on the trip. First beach, first trip itself, first like van ride, first camping. That was really my favorite part, is just seeing my dog react. The whole trip was just great, and if Echo could talk, she would probably say the same. She sits waiting to come back to the shop now every day and misses the shop guys all the time now. So she's definitely found her home inside the crew on this trip as well.
So my favorite part of the trip would have to be Cape Blanco. I really liked the campsite. It was like super cool and foggy and misty and just super different from the landscapes of Colorado. It was just very pretty, and I loved the opportunities I had. Went on some really nice walks just on the trails next to the campsite. And the lighthouse that was like 20 minutes away was super dope. I really enjoyed walking there and just taking photos along the way, even though I nearly got blown off that peninsula like 20 different times. So it was good. That was probably my highlight of the trip for me. And all the other video and photos that I took, it was really cool. I'm very thankful for being part of this trip.
My favorite part of the trip, honestly, was, as cliche as it sounds, the friends that I made along the way. Such a neat chance to connect with people in the sphere of camper vans, but really to meet cool people doing cool things, making cool things, and explore a part of the country that I really hadn't driven through or experienced at all. I mean, Idaho was a completely new experience for me. We found some real beauty in Wyoming that I hadn't really known was there, and I can't wait to just get back in a van and go explore more.
My favorite part of the trip was just spending some time with my family on the coast. Driving out to the coast from Colorado is a pretty big drive, so it's rare that we get a chance to do that. And it was a really nice excuse to take the whole family out there and get some quality time with them. But just playing on the beach, going around like the northwest kind of area, and hanging out with the family in such a different zone than it is here in Colorado was just a really wonderful experience. The addition of the state parks in Oregon was really the icing on the cake, because it just made everything so easy for the family. Everybody in the entire group could shower every night, and it just made everything really smooth and simple, for having 9 people on the road with us.
And if I were to change anything, it was to not walk everywhere. I brought a skateboard, but I didn't really plan on doing a whole lot of individual travel. Just felt like walking was the best way to get around, and in turn, it actually ruined my opportunity to skate at one of the skate parks in Bend. And of course, that's what I have regretted ever since we came back. It's like, I should have skated.
You know, I did bring, I maybe overpacked a little bit. I brought like a Nintendo Wii and like some stuff for downtime. And since we moved camp every day, we didn't really have much downtime except for the time we spent in Bend. I probably would have left, you know, the Nintendo at home. If I were to change something about the trip itself, I'd probably just spend 2 nights, you know, in one of those places on the coast, because it's nice to set up a base camp and not have to take it down the next morning.
I would have enjoyed to have spent more time in each area just to get like a feel for it. Like, I really liked Astoria. I wish I had like more time there. Like, if I had 2 or 3 days in Astoria, I think that'd been cool. But yeah, like for me, I really enjoyed the trip. Like towards the end, I was like getting kind of tired, but like I enjoyed all the photos we took. Like it was an experience for sure.
You know, if there's anything we could have changed about the trip, I think I just would have slowed down a little bit and maybe packed a little bit less into the trip. Having something planned for every day and having locations to depart from and arrive to every day meant that we were always in a little bit of a rush, and we couldn't just stop and let it soak in. There are definitely more things that I wanted to do along the coast. I really wanted to explore some tide pools, you know, in depth with the kids and let them, you know, see some starfish and, you know, just cool animal life on the coast that we normally don't get to see. And it just would have been nice to slow down and take our time. So if there's some recommendations I can give to you as a fellow van lifer, I would slow down when you can and just take a little bit of time. But all in all, it was a really wonderful trip. I think everybody had a real great time. We got to test out our vans, you know, really kick the tires, make some improvements. I think we got to really recharge for the rest of the year. Came back to the shop, we have some great ideas, and we're really happy to start sharing them with you. Thanks for following along with our AVC Oregon road trip. What I need from you is a little help planning our next trip. So please leave a note in the comments below letting us know where we should plan our next adventure. As always, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.